Good evening and welcome to everybody. Good evening in Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, Timor-Leste. Good morning in the United States of America. Good afternoon in United Kingdom, Europe, Middle East, Africa. And thank you for joining us today to participate in the SAEBD-ICCC Network and Partners South-North, North-South Dialogue Series. This is the second dialogue in celebration of the United Nations World Social Justice Day 2022. The theme for today's discussion is global people-to-people cooperation working together to realize inclusive, people-centered, sustainable agriculture in the community. I am Eugene Francois Arokiasamy, President of the SAEBD-ICCC Network and the moderator for tonight's dialogue. On behalf of SAEBD-ICCC Network, I would like to thank our partners, the Institute of Social Science Studies, IPSAS, University Putra Malaysia, UPM, Perwadina, a large NGO based in Negeri Sembilan, Ichigo Daifuku Commercial Company, AUC Redon, and others for being partners in this dialogue. For more information about us, SAEBD-ICCC Network, International Limited, please check us out on our website indicated below. If you need more information, personally, you may communicate with me. This year, the theme for United Nations World Social Justice Day focuses on achieving social justice through formal employment. The United Nations theme suggests the need for formalization of employment as a prerequisite for reducing poverty and inequality globally. We believe that education is a key tool for empowering, be it formal or non-formal, vocational or non-vocational, a key tool for empowering people to move from the informal sector potentially to the formal sector of employability. Tonight, we will have speakers from United States and discussants also from United Kingdom, Kuwait, United Kingdom, Zimbabwe, Japan, and Malaysia. So let's push on. To open this dialogue, we have several persons. We also have a video clip from one of our persons. So may I call upon David Carmichael? David Carmichael is the chairperson of SAEB International. He's also the president of SAEB United Kingdom. David is an employment specialist in United Kingdom at a European firm called Field Fisher. So to you, David Carmichael, thank you for joining us from Manchester, United Kingdom.
Thanks very much indeed, Eugene, for the introduction and the welcome. As you've pointed out, my day job is essentially as a partner in a law firm where I specialize in employment. So I'm particularly, I think, attuned to the importance of marking through the UN's Day of social justice, the importance of employment in people's lives. I think it's a truism to say that employment gives people purpose, but perhaps my comment reflects that north-south divide, where employment is about sustenance within poorer communities, whereas within richer communities, it is about purpose as well as sustenance. I am looking forward to taking part in the discussion later today, but I think if there is a theme that I would like people to bear in mind, both those contributing and those who will be watching today and hopefully online in the future, it is to pose the question for themselves, how can I help you? whoever that you is, whether it is your neighbor, or whether it is someone you encounter who is on the other side of the world. How can I help you? Is the challenge which I would like everyone to pick up and run with a view to developing in a practical and sustainable way the improvement in employment prospects for all of those in need of a more regularized and certain form of employment. And with that, I'll hand back to Eugene to introduce the next contributor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David Carmichael. May I now call upon Professor Izmi Arif, the Director for the Institute of Social Science Studies, University Putra, Malaysia, to deliver his welcome address to this dialogue.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Eugene. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. My partner, Mr. David, Mr. Vincent Pang, Miss Maria Rindon, and Mr. Carlito, as well as Associate Professor Dr. Siti Nur Hajah Mat Latif. The keynote speakers, Mr. Nasir Saleh, and our keynote proposers. We have Miss Donna, and our discussants, Miss Yumiko, Mr. Sungano, and Miss Alisa, and of course our my fellow colleague from IPSAS, University Putra Malaysia, Professor Dr. Stephen Eric Krause. On behalf of IPSAS, Institute for Social Science Studies, University Putra Malaysia, which used to be known as University of Agriculture Malaysia, we are proud and humbled by the opportunity given by SAEB and SAEBD-ICCC to collaborate in this second dialogue, our South North North South dialogue series, in conjunction with our UN World Social Justice Day 2022, with the theme Global People-to-People Cooperation, working together to realize inclusive, people-centered, sustainable agriculture in the community, which rings close to UPM, being a university that was established as Malaysian's first agriculture university. And we believe that agriculture will always stay as an important sector to empower youth and community, basically to advance our life, to eradicate poverty, to liberate society, and to bring our communities to the next level. So again, I believe that our dialogue today will provide us with very fruitful input for us to strategize on appropriate initiatives, to empower youth and community through sustainable agriculture in the community. So as an institute, which niche area is to empower youth and community, IPSAS, UPM will always be supportive of this program, and inshallah we will continue to collaborate and support our partners to ensure that we will always work towards empowering youth and community across the globe. Thank you very much again, everyone, and hopefully we will learn from each other today. Thank you. Over to you, Eugene.
Thank you very much, Prof. Izmi, for a wonderful introduction and opening remark. We have a few people who won't be joining us today. Professor Siti and Carlito, Vincent are unable to join for various reasons, but we welcome them in spirit. May I now call upon our international advisor from Italy. Maria sent us a video clip, which we would play this video clip. She's actually with us live. I'm not sure if you would like to listen to your video clip and add on a minute, or you'd like to speak live.
No, we can listen to the video.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can join us as a discussion later on. Okay, thank you. So you can see everybody, Maria is real. Thank you, Maria, very much. We'll listen to your video. So our technical team.
Ciao, and good evening to everybody. I'm Maria Rindone, International Advisor to SAEBD-ICCC network from Italy. It is my great pleasure to be here for the first time with all of you for the second South-North-North-South dialogue, organized by SAEBD and partners in celebration of the United Nations for Social Justice Day 2022. The global sustainable agriculture movement is opening many doors for projects and activities that can produce food and ensure good health and well-being for all the citizens in local communities in most of European nations. It will be good and interesting to hear what the keynote speaker Donna Barras will share with all of us today. I'm sure we can all learn from her experiences in the USA and also in Uganda. Thank you very much, SAEBD and partners, for organizing this dialogue, and thank you, Dana, and the discussants for sharing your knowledge and efforts. Thank you very much. Ciao.
Thank you very much. Would you, if you like to add, or you can wait, or if you're happy to wait till we get to the panel discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, thank you for your address, which helps me to lead on to our keynote speaker. As Professor our chairperson David Carmichael mentioned, the pertinence and importance of employment and employability, people helping each other. We have Professor Ismi, who's also talked about the importance of agriculture and its role its crucial role in societal development. First societies in the world were very much centered around agriculture and agricultural development. With that, we also look at the issue of inclusion and social exclusion of everybody in the role of employability, employment, and also in the field of agriculture, which produces very important sustenance for the world. With that, we are very happy to welcome our keynote welcome speaker today, who is none other than Nasser Saleh, who is our Vice President for Leadership and Empowerment for the ICC network. Nasser is also our SAEBD Special Needs flagship youth global champion for, the special needs, non-special needs people in sustainable agriculture, Global Initiative 2020-2045. So you can see long-term goals. Nasser is a Paralympian who's participated in the London Olympics, Rio Olympics, very, very fit and healthy young person who has much to contribute and to showcase in terms of being a motivator and being motivated to make positive human development and change for all. So we are tremendously pleased and honored to have Nasser as our flagship Youth Global Champion, but also to join us today with his keynote welcome address to our dialogue. So over to you, Nasser.
Hi all, thank you so much, Eugene, for this lovely introduction. And let me just say my keynote speech. Hi all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to all of you, the speakers, the discussants, and the viewers of this dialogue session. My name is Nasser Saleh. I am the Vice President for Leadership and Empowerment of SAEBD-ICCC Network. I am also the Youth Global Flagship Champion for the SAEBD Special Needs and Non-Special Needs People in Sustainable Agriculture Global Initiative 2020-2045. I am originally from Kuwait and now live in the United Kingdom doing my bachelor at physics. I am also a Paralympian who participated in the London 2012 and Rio 2016 Paralympics Games in athletics as a racing wheelchair player. Thanks to my colleagues David Carmichael and Eugene Rakasami from the SAEBD-ICCC Network, SAEBD International Ltd UK, and Professor Azmi Arif and Professor Stephen Krause from IBSAS UPM, and sponsors for inviting me to deliver the keynote welcome for the second South-North-North-South Dialogue in celebration of the United Nations International Day for World Social Justice 2022 tonight, Sunday 20 of February 2022. As the Youth Global Champion for the SAEBD Special Needs and Non-Special Needs People in Sustainable Agriculture Global Initiative 2020-2045, I am very happy and honored to hear that this second dialogue session will be addresses global cooperation, especially in sustainable agriculture that seeks to involve special needs people. Therefore, I welcome the possibility of our keynote speaker, Donna Boris, who is a President's Gold Medal Award educator and coordinator, Bees Bounty Community Garden Co-op, Somerville, Tennessee, USA, assisting SAEBD in our work and others who wish to be involved in this type of activity, especially trying to include special needs people too. We all should work together to make the world a better place for all people, no matter who you are or where you are. I have been informed that Donna is a very experienced in expediting sustainable agriculture community projects that involves young people and adults in Tennessee, USA. I look forward to hearing about Donna Boris' wonderful work in the USA for over 10 years ago. I also look forward to hearing the discussants, Ms. Yumiki Takano, SAEBD President from Japan, Mr. Sangano Chisina, Head of Business Development, Data and Research, National Youth Council of Zimbabwe, and Ms. Elisa Yao, International Youth Committee member from Malaysia, and David Carmichael, our chairperson of the board of SAEBD International Ltd, and their ideas and knowledge for involving youth and adults, including special needs people in the field of community-focused sustainable agriculture globally. As Vice President, Leadership and Empowerment of SAEBD-ICCC Network, it is good to hear that people-to-people cooperation will be explored tonight as part of SAEBD and partners' drive to implement a new cross-country cooperation project. The United Nations World Day for Social Justice 2022 focuses on achieving social justice through formal employment with an aim to reduce poverty and challenge inequality globally. Therefore, as the Youth Global Champion for the SAEBD Special Needs and Non-Special Needs People in Sustainable Agriculture Global Initiative 2020 to 2045 and the Vice President of SAEBD ICCC Network, I hope we can all work together to achieve these goals of the United Nations World Social Justice Day 2022. I also hope we can all work together to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through good, honest, and people inclusive initiatives, projects, and programs that are based on people to people global cooperation. Thanks to all of you for participating in this dialogue. And that's all what I want to say, and I will hand it to you, Eugene.
Thank you very much, Nasser. Thank you very much for a wonderful welcome to all our participants. As I say, we are very honored. Nasser is from Kuwait, and Nasser is also the CEO too of SAEB International Limited, which is the facilitating social enterprise organization based, registered and based in United Kingdom. And one of his efforts is to help us reach out to the Middle East, nations like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and others, United Arab Emirates and others. So we welcome more involvement in and with the Middle East. With that, I once again thank all of those who participated in the first part of this dialogue, which is the more formal part, but nonetheless very important in context. So can we now move to the second part, which is our panel discussion, which will be a live panel discussion kicked off and led by our keynote speaker. So may I now call upon all the discussants and to show yourselves before I start introducing you. Let's do it this other way, which was planned and I have forgotten. So I apologize. Okay, let me introduce our golden keynote speaker, my good friend, Donna Burris from Somerville, Tennessee, United States. She's the keynote proposer of inclusion in community sustainable agriculture models. Donna is a President Gold Award winner in education educator from the state of Tennessee. She's also the coordinator of Bees Bounty Community Garden Co-op and based in Somerville. Donna has been really instrumental in driving this initiative from its start about 10 years ago. So she is the inventor, and Elon Musk better take note of this. So let us invite the rest to join the panel. May I call upon Yumiko Takano to join us? Yumiko Takano is hi, welcome Yumiko. Yumiko is our president of SAEB. She's very interested to link up also with Donna. She's interested to establish similar things in Japan, maybe starting in Okinawa. Yumiko is also a mother of a special needs child who is very enthusiastic about getting them involved in such activities. Can I call upon Mr. Sungano Chisina, the head of business development data research from the National Youth Council of Zimbabwe? Has he joined us? Maybe he has not joined us yet. Maybe he is having some connection or connectivity problems. Can we call about Miss Elise Yao, International Youth Committee SAEB-ICCC Network and member of the Malaysian chapter PSPPBM Malaysia, to join us, and David Carmichael, the chairperson of SAEB International and president of SAEB ICC UK chapter. So with that, I hope Sungano will be able to join us. I call him shortly while you pursue your dialogue. And may I also call Professor Dr. Stephen Krauss, Head of Laboratory Youth Community Wellbeing, Institute of Social Science Studies, University Putra, Malaysia. Some of you may know him, know of him as Abdul Latif Krauss, Abdullah, but he's generally internationally known as Stephen Krauss. And Stephen is also as our international advisor for SAEB ICC Youth Network, because we have a SOP, standard operating procedure, where we've adopted youth-adult partnership as a pillar for the organization of all programs, projects, and also the structure as it is. So thank you. May I pass over to Donna, please, your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Well, it's so glad to be here. Nice to see everybody. And I'll bring up my presentation, and here we go. All right. Everybody got it? Okay. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the Bees Bounty Community Garden. We started this garden 4 years ago, and it is a youth-driven garden where the teens actually plan the garden, take care of the garden, and everything else. So I'm just going to share with you our journey. So who am I? Well, I've been in education for 30 years. We built an outdoor classroom in 2005, and we had some raised beds in the back of it. And that's the area where we have established this garden. I also run the biology lab. I'm a plant science teacher as of this year, and ecology club sponsor. So the teens requested that there be a high school club established once they were actively involved in the design and construction of the outdoor classroom. All right. And we have received certain awards around the country for our environmental projects and recognition for our service in our community. So what was our mission? Our mission is to promote environmental sustainability in a fun, hands-on, creative way in our home, our school, and our community, while learning the skills to be an effective leader. The Bees Bounty Garden increases community access to pesticide-free produce while promoting education and urban agriculture. Establishing a family co-op helped us provide the funds necessary to provide summer jobs for our teens that ensured the maintenance of the garden during the summer months. So
Hi,
this
Donna.
is really
Hi, Donna. Donna, sorry,
Yeah.
Donna, may I stop you? Your presentation is not showing up. The technical team has mentioned this to us. So I'm hoping that maybe as done before, maybe if SAEF may be able to assist with doing your presentation. So it's not coming up on the screen, so we can't quite see it.
Okay, well, that's no good. Let's try that again.
Yeah, there it is. I can see it again.
Can you see
And
it?
while we're at it, we can see that.
How about now? Have you got it? No?
Yep, perfectly perfect. Maria, would you like to join the group as well, since Sugano is missing?
Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see it now when I go full screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I am so sorry. I apologize. I don't know what happened. All right. So this is a model for youth-driven change. So our journey began with a campus-wide environmental study, and our students were involved in the design and construction of our outdoor classroom. And the high school students requested a club to ensure its sustainability. And what we found to be extremely important before we started doing anything was to make sure that we got into learning what each other's leadership styles were. We do pretty extensive team building. We take a couple of retreats a year. And most importantly, we celebrate our successes along the way. We also use scientific methods and quantitative results that evaluates our effectiveness and how well we're doing. So it all starts with community service. Here's a little video. So that little video highlights some of our community service projects over the last few years. It's very important that we found to involve the students in every step along the way, so they develop their own goals every year with quantitative results expected at the end to evaluate how effective they were. And we started with building bad houses. One year they wanted the most misunderstood animal to be a focus, and we did energy upgrades on our buildings. And through that process, it led to establishing a community garden. So the Bees Bounty Garden measures 40 feet by 60 feet. It's located in the back of our outdoor classroom. And I was so excited this year, our school allowed me to establish a plant science class. So these 6 students have actually designed the beds for this coming summer and have started the seedlings in the lab. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do. The Bees Bounty itself, we don't use any pesticides at all. We use natural pest deterrents. We also provide our co-op members fresh flowers. Keeping ecology as our commitment along the way. We provide weekly harvest to our 30 co-op families and fresh eggs as long as our chickens are in the mood to lay them. Here's a picture that shows some of our produce pickup. We pick up once a week. We always try to make it special. We provide drinks and little goodies for any of the children that come. Most of our participants are elderly people that can no longer physically take care of gardens themselves. If you look in the top right, that's my biology lab, and they're doing some soil testing there. And then at the bottom is just a picture of the garden halfway through the summer. We were able to produce over 1 ton of food last summer, which was very exciting. You can see them pouring up some drinks. And so we try to make it real special when they come on Friday. So the students harvest the food and we store it inside until they come and pick them up on Fridays. Do we have challenges and blocks and barriers along the way? We sure have. We start off where we have no school budget, even though we're an independent school. We're a very small independent school in rural Tennessee. We're about 35 miles east of Memphis. We have 650 students pre-K through 12th grade. We weren't sure at the beginning that we were going to be able to get high school students to participate during the summer. But once we told them that we would actually provide incentives for them in the form of money and pay them to be there, then we now have more students that want to work during the summer than we can take. COVID did present many special challenges along the way, but even when the school was shut down, we still came to the garden in the hot and humid conditions, but we just wore our mask and kept producing our food. All right, here's a picture of the garden, probably in the middle of the summer. You can see in the back are the tomato plants, and we rotate crops in and out. We do early crops as well. Through our social media post, the Tennessee Farm Bureau found out what we were doing, and they came and visited and were excited. We were having a problem with our tomatoes being blown over during thunderstorms using post and baskets, so they provided us a grant, and we used cattle panels and T-posts and eliminated that problem going forward. Students also, not only do you plant plants, but we also need artists too. So no matter what students love to do, we can use photographers and people that enjoy flowers and floral design. We also had our Master Gardeners visit this year. They found us on social media as well and provided us a little tiny grant, but it allowed us to buy some compost setup station. So we're excited about that, and we're going to start working with our cafeteria. Here's a little clip that shows what the garden looked like when school started. So this is the 1st of August. Still got some blooms, still doing some good stuff. So what we talk about in plant science is that horticulture or plant science is the art, technology, the business, the education, and the science of plants. So next I'm going to show you a little video that we use to get people in the community to learn more about us and sign up. So through sharing our journey in social media, we also have a new exciting project that we've been communicating with and getting to know these wonderful students in Uganda, Africa. They contacted us and wanted to know, could we have an international chapter of our little high school club? And we said, absolutely. So Extreme High School is now a chapter of our school's ecology club. And so we share back and forth what we find out works well and what doesn't work well with our gardens. We've also collected some supplies and seeds and things for them, and we're currently raising money to send all those wonderful supplies over to Uganda and Africa. As you can see, they have many students that work very hard. They actually produce all the food they need for those students in those schools. So they have a huge job ahead of them. All right. Anybody have any questions? I'm sorry it didn't work earlier.
It's fine. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. May I call upon the discussants now? They will pose you with some questions and we may have a nice dialogue, because it seems that we have a good amount of time to have a good discussion. So can I call about Yumiko, David? Sungano sent me a message saying he's been called to the president's office to organize a National Youth Day commemoration ceremony. So he sends his apologies. David Carmichael, Alicia, and Maria, Professor Stephen Krause. Would you like to join us as well? Right. Over to you. And who would like to kick off with the first question to Donna? Shall we call upon Elisa, our youth member, to kick this dialogue session off?
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Donna, I'd just like to say that was a really inspiring presentation.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's really inspiring how you got the youths involved, and I think that is not an easy job, because I just recently joined, and I know it's not easy trying to get people involved in things like this. So my first question is, how did you get inspired to start an initiative like this, and how did you start getting youths involved? Like, other than incentives that you mentioned, how do you inspire them to join you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I have always loved the environment. My father was a science supervisor for 35 years in Memphis. And we grew up loving the environment, enjoying nature, having fun. So in sharing our passion for the environment and actual labs themselves, when we did that in campus-wide environmental study, they began to understand how important nature was. And so we asked them, how do you want to learn science? Do you want to learn through a book? Do you like reading and answering questions, or do you like being out in the field and learning? And of course, they all wanted to be out in the field. So we said, well, if you could have anything you want, if you could wish anyway, what would you like to have? And they all said they wanted an outdoor classroom where they could actually come and watch the beneficial pollinators, you know, doing their job in the garden. And so we allowed them to be involved in every step of the way. I think that's the key, is that, you know, if we as adults do all the work and then just want the kids to come and be in it, they just don't buy in as well as if they help design it. So they actually drew the different garden plans up, and we selected, you know, we had everybody vote. So they had an active role in every step of the way from the very beginning. And then the actual Bees Bounty Garden, the agriculture part in the back, started when we had a new head of school that asked if I could start a community garden in those raised beds in that outdoor classroom. And that's what started that. And then the students were excited about it. The Ecology Club has work days 4 work days a year that maintains that large outdoor classroom. And so they naturally were already involved in it, because they requested that club be established after they designed and helped build it. So it was interesting to see how passionate they were about making sure it would be taken care of going forward. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that's
Elisa?
really cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you. Would anybody like to add to that, or like a follow-up question on something?
I've got a couple of questions.
Can I?
Donna, can you hear me okay?
David.
I can.
Call it Bees Garden. Why did you start your garden naming it so?
Naming it the Bees Bounty?
Yeah.
One of the 4 separate little garden areas in the front of the outdoor classroom is for beneficial insects. So we already had a healthy respect for our pollinators. And so we knew that many of the food that we would be growing would require those pollinators to play an active role. So another one of the misunderstood insects around were the bee. And we had done a little study with our elementary children, teaching them all about bees. So it was kind of a natural transition, and let's just call it the Bees Bounty, because it's the bounty we have from our wonderful little bees. So that's kind of how that came across.
Excellent, thank you. And it's clearly a very exciting, engaging project you've committed so much time to. Is there a prospect of the state taking your model into other schools?
I have no idea. I really don't know. I know we're working with the University of Tennessee Agriculture Extension Office. That's where the Master Gardeners kind of are under their umbrella. And they're working with us and coming out. I know the Tennessee Agriculture Department, they have given us grants and said they'll give us one every year as long as we continue to produce produce for the community. So it's possible.
Yeah, but I guess yours is a model which fits well for rural schooling, but perhaps not within, say, Nashville or Memphis.
You know, I don't know. It's such a small area that we're farming, with it only being 40 feet wide and 60 feet long, and being able to produce. We actually produced over 2 tons of food if you take into consideration the fall garden that the students planted when school started again. I think any community could do it. I think even you could do it in the big cities. I don't think it'd be a problem. I hope to work with inner city Memphis when I retire, which won't be too far away.
Surely not.
And help them establish some. Yeah.
Well, we have visited many sites in our planning to establish our special needs, non-special needs people in sustainable agriculture, organic farms, and the interest and the importance of doing it in urban areas is quite significant, because it helps very much the urban family, a person who has the special needs child to be able, or a special needs adult who needs to be able to have some space, go out, do something, be involved in an activity. So 60-40 is perfect size for many urban centers and urban schools. So this is a model which, to be, as you mentioned, inner city Memphis, inner city Malaysia, inner city Italy, inner city Manchester. This model could be quite appropriately and bespokely designed for use in other places. So it is, for us, it's a fantastic model. And with that, like, may I ask, I think, in terms of inclusion, and I mentioned, special needs persons, may I call upon Yumiko to maybe then ask her question on special, with specific reference to special needs? Yumiko Takano, please.
Okay, good evening to all of you. I am Yumiko Takano, president of SAEBD Japan. That is going to become a registered NGO or NPO in Japan soon. Just excuse me for my English is not so good, but I will try my best.
Have I frozen out?
And good evening to Donna Bruce, and thank you very much for such a wonderful and also impressive presentation that I really enjoyed. I learned a lot from your presentation and how it may be used in Japan and many other countries. It is a great opportunity to involve many people, youth and adults, in doing a very worthwhile activity, sustainability farming, that helps feed people who cannot have good access to food. So my question for you, Ms. Donna Bruce, is based on the fact that I am a mother of a wonderful special needs child. I would love it if she and the wonderful special needs people like her can also participate in such a project. Then how it could be starting like, and how they could keep it continuously for their present life. I would love to hear this can be done for their happy life. Thank you very much.
Sure. I got your first one. How can special needs children be involved? There are many things they could do in the garden. You've got watering, they can learn how to plant seeds. We do a little project with our pre-K through 5th grade, and they all planted seeds, and it's amazing what young children can do. And they love the garden because they still just love learning so much. It's an exciting journey for them. Another thing that we did that special needs children could do, we started our seed bank, and they would have a blast collecting seeds and being able to sort them out, even the flower seeds. That's not a hard process, but definitely something they could do and learn how to take those tomatoes even. And we're excited because this year we had a tomato expert send us 70 varieties of tomatoes. So we're going to end up having about 125 tomato plants. And there's going to be so many of them, are probably 90% of them are heirlooms. So we're real excited about being able to collect and process those seeds and share them with people all over the world. We can send them everywhere. So that's exciting because a lot of them, the origin of most of those seeds are from all over the country and all over the world even. We have even one set of seeds that were sent to us that was a granddaughter of a man that lived through the Holocaust, and he snuck them into the concentration camps and was able to get out and brought them back out, and she has kept those seeds viable. So it's just amazing to see how you can have fun doing that kind of thing. I hope that answered your question.
Well, so it's not really so advanced like you say, and so I just would like to learn more from you. So,
well, you're sweet. Well, you're welcome to contact me anytime, and I'll be glad to share what I've learned the hard way. And I think our biggest challenge was the not using any pesticides to control pests, because we have big squash bug problems. And so this year, the plant science students have really studied that, and we're going to up our game and have many more herbs and, in much closer quarters to our plants to see if we can't do a better job. Those squash bugs wear us out. Yeah, but we made it, but they sure are a challenge.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much for it. I really appreciate it, so that I am meeting to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yumi, and I apologize. I got frozen out for a little while and got back in. Maria, would you like to ask a specific question?
Also, first of all, thank you for your very interesting information. I think that that could be something very interesting also here in Italy. I live in the south of Italy, in the Mediterranean area, and here we have a lot of hundreds of vegetable, fruits, plants, and so on. And a lot of people are in origin come from farmers, and so I think as in the last time. A lot of people want to go back to the origin. It can be a good introduction for give some information to go back to the agriculture. Also here in Italy, involving young people and involving also people who never had nothing to do with agriculture can be good. Can be very good also for a lot of people. One question, I don't know, I don't understand very well especially American language, so I don't know if someone asked this already. Do you have any support from the government or some help from sponsor or something like this, or you are auto-financing this project?
Yeah, it's a great question. We actually don't have any help from the government. I'm just constantly looking for grants and different foundations that support children in gardening. There's a whole lot out there. But the co-op, what pays the children in the summertime to provide the summer jobs is the co-op project. So what happens is families pay $225 and they get 12 weeks of fresh produce. So it's less than $20 a week. And we plant an early spring garden, which is what's going in right now. And then we have the summer crop. And they come every Friday and they get to select what they want, like a little mini farmer's market. And that money goes strictly to pay those teenagers to work during the summer. I will share with you that the first year that we started it, these children had never farmed before, so they didn't really know what they were getting into. And they knew it's hot, humid here in the summer, and like, do I really want to do this or not? But the children have since expressed that they actually feel better, that their moods are better, that they're less stressed once they work in the garden. I even had one gentleman share the fact that COVID was really stressing him out. He didn't like the isolation, and just being able to come out and be in the garden really helped him mentally to be able to deal with the pressures that were coming from that whole experience. And now all of those students that worked before can't wait to do it again. So it's exciting to watch them once they get out there. And I think they actually experience the bacteria in the soil that turns on, you know, those receptors in your brain and literally does make you feel better. So it's interesting to watch them. It's just getting them there is the key, getting them started.
But do you think that something like that, something like this school can be also be done for not for the school, not for children, but for elder people? They want to go back to farmer culture or something else. I think this could be also be very interesting for them.
Yeah, I think anyone could do it. Matter of fact, one of my students is doing a research paper right now for her senior English class, and she's writing about how using that very program that she participates in the prisons, because she thinks that if prisoners set up gardens like this and grew their own food, then they would come back out into society with a skill that not only could feed themselves, but they could be really good members of society again and have something to share. So I thought that was really amazing that she came up with that.
Okay. Good. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Professor Stephen Krause, question?
Yeah. Based on that last comment, I really wanted to ask, because Donna, you mentioned, you just referenced the student and the impact the program has had on this particular student you just mentioned. My question is really in relation to that. One of the things that we found in this part of the world, in Malaysia and some of the other developing countries that we've done some research in, is that especially around agriculture, it's really difficult getting young people interested in agriculture nowadays, especially in countries where it's so important for food security and so forth. Based on your experience, what other long-term impacts have you seen on the program in terms of your students' sort of career-oriented, career-based interest in agriculture? Has it had any effect that you've seen?
Yeah, great question. I have been amazed because this is the first year that they let me do like a plant science class, right? So of those 6 students that are in that class, 4 of them are seniors, and 3 of those 4 have now been accepted to universities, and they're going to be studying plant science and environmental agricultural courses. So it had a tremendous impact on them. 2 of those 3 had worked in the garden during the summer, but one young man had not, and he really got excited about mycology studies and the mushrooms and the possibility of, we grew mushrooms in class and grew some outside, and we've set up a whole new mushroom station out there, and he's just loving the mushrooms. But yeah, he said for the first time, it just clicked, and that's what he wants to study. Now, my past garden chairperson will be graduating from Harvard this year, and he is getting his degree in biological evolution. And it all started with his studying, in the garden, working in the garden and all that kind of stuff. So, so I think it's just, honestly, it's giving them the exposure to it and letting them participate in it. Most schools don't do that, and I think that really, it could be a huge difference, because I keep telling them, I said, what y'all don't realize is this can impact you the rest of your life. You can always feed your family. Right. You can have a beautiful flower bed in front of your house if that's what you want. But yeah, it's huge what you can do. I do use project-driven learning. In other words, I let the students actively participate as much as they can in deciding how they want to lead their learning.
Right.
So like when they started designing the beds this year, I said, well, pick the one plant in your bed that you're the most excited about, and then find the pest that's going to be your problem. And so they went and did research on it, and that's where we came up with some new herbs and things that we're going to be using. So it's fun watching them, but they got to own it. I think that's the key. We can't sit up there and dictate to them as the great encyclopedia, right? That they've got to go learn the knowledge for themselves. Yeah. So I try to prevent the disasters, but I don't perceive to know all the answers. That's for sure.
That leads me to another question. That you, in your presentation, you talked about the importance of having empirical data, of them actually collecting data. And do you actually teach? Do you also teach the research methods, or do they learn that outside of your class?
Yeah, no, I teach that. I'm a past International Science Fair participant myself. I was a winner back when I was in high school. So the scientific research process has always been my thing. So when we do our labs in there, we collect our data. They have to evaluate it. They make their charts and graphs. So we make sure we use that in every step of the way as far as in the classroom instruction. Now, we do use it to a degree outside, in that when we're looking at our pest management as well as our production numbers, our soil testing and all that type of thing, we actually look at that and see how we changed it. How are we trying to do it all organically is another challenge. We haven't been able to produce the amount of compost that we would need to be 100% organic. We do use some fertilizers and additives to help correct any problems our soil tests. Like we had a big sulfur deficiency, which year one, when we only did the basic soil test, we didn't realize we were sulfur deficient, and we kept trying to figure out why our leaves turning yellow. We couldn't figure it out. So once we did now we do extensive soil testing every year, try to prevent those problems. And so far, so good.
Thank you. So Donna, secretly, Prof is asking you these questions because I proposed to him I do my PhD on your farm. I've got to finish my master's first, which he keeps on egging me to get my act together. But Donna, So Donna, when I ever get, I'm just moving on in age, and my research is just stagnant. But anyway, Donna, we have some questions which were pre-written in. You did mention to me you want the youth from Timor-Leste. They really were quite excited with your participation, because you're doing something small scale. And I just put the context, right? Timor-Leste is a new country, quite tiny in size. Population's about 1.15 million, very small. We're actually quite happy that our flagship global champion is one of the past presidents of the country. But the youth in particular are they make up 60% of the population. They're quite very muchly interested in sustainable agriculture. They were wondering how they might be able to link up with the USA, but between youth and between adults and adults. So a possibility of how do you see a potential of a youth adult partnership driven initiative coming from, for instance, your students outreaching to other young people across the world?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I think that's real. It's definitely doable, similar to the way we're doing today. The garden students will be out there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 days a week. But there could be like a set day, like my ecology club kids, we meet every Tuesday. We have a 30-minute block that we meet. And that's like last week we hooked up with the people over there in Uganda. But it could be the same thing about any country, I would think, is that we could just set a set time up. And we are going to start a blog on the school website. So they will be going in there and blogging on a daily basis about successes or challenges, whatever we're dealing with at the moment. So, that might be another way too. They could check us out.
What we were potentially considering is having an institution as a leading partner, which we have managed to capture one called the University Putra Malaysia, with a fantastic social science institute, which may be an anchor partner with getting like adult friends and supporters. Yumiko, who's very interested in getting young people to live a healthy and good life. We have a young person, Elisa. We have David, who can convince his lawyers to eat sustainably in his firm of 1,150 lawyers, who might also want to buy the produce. We have Maria, who could convince people in Italy to be involved, and you could help facilitate a network. But we very much look at the interest of having youth voice and youth driven initiatives as part of YAP. So if there could be a possibility of maybe using this forum to maybe kickstart something, a launch, and we use everybody because of COVID-19. People are quite used to doing things online now. So if we could have something set up, I don't know. I'm throwing this in. So maybe people might want to respond to some besides Donna. I'm throwing in this idea.
It's kind of related, but I'd be interested in learning from Donna to what extent there is commonality of issues as between Bees Bounty and the Ugandan project, if there are commonalities there.
Yeah, we definitely have some things in common, that's for sure. I know he's taught me how they deal with their pest is interesting. They use pepper sauce and they mix it in with tobacco plants, which we've never used tobacco plants before. So it's interesting to see. That's something we're going to try this year new, to see if we can come up with a spray that might be good, that's, organic in nature and all. They have different challenges than we do. We're right now trying to send them seeds, but we can't get the Department of Agriculture letter that we need because our post office and people in our country won't touch it without a letter from their Department of Ag. So, there's always issues along the way. We have got them a bunch of other supplies, school supplies and things to go, but the shipping just outrageous. We're having to raise almost $3,000 just to ship it to them, not, which we were able to get the supplies they requested, but getting to them is a whole nother thing. And that kind of stuff is very challenging. So I've almost decided that you're better not to send tangible things, maybe other than seed, something, because all the books and these supplies weigh so much, it just costs so much to get them over there. But we're constantly sharing. I talk with them. Matter of fact, he touched base with me this morning. So we're always sharing with each other and touching base on our challenges as far as watering is concerned. They're so different growing over there than we are because they don't have the seasons like we do. So, but they have their challenges with too much water, so our biggest challenge usually is not enough water. So, yeah, it's interesting.
We can send you some of that from Manchester.
They
have plenty.
They have plenty of water.
Yeah,
in the summer. So we are excited that the Ecology Club students actually raised money this year and bought a drip irrigation system. So we're excited that we're going to be able to install drip irrigation. We just pray we have enough water pressure. That's a whole nother issue we're not sure about. But so they'll be able to spend more time pruning tomatoes. That's what they said they need to do. It was cute to watch them. So instead of standing there holding a hose, they want to prune their plants. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Thanks.
Elisa, as a modern day young person, right? Youth, because most of us are also youthful, but may have passed the barrier of legally being youth. Elisa, how do you think the response from your generation of young people may be towards such work that Donna's doing and seems to be catching so much traction with her students? How do you think it might be feasible in a country like Malaysia?
So being honest here, I mean, I can't speak on behalf of all of the youths, but I can say that maybe more than half of us, I mean, we don't have any experience at all, like gardening and stuff like that. So it can be a bit daunting, like wanting to attract people, wanting to attract more youths to join in something like this. So I wanted to ask, Donna, what are some of the easier produces that we can start with? Like, I could, it something that's easy to take care of, so that it wouldn't be too daunting for youths who are trying this out for the first time.
What crops? See, I need to know like what your growing season's like. I don't know what your high temperatures are. I don't know what your humidity levels, what growing zone you're in. All that would matter. But there's some really easy crops. You've got kale, you've got lettuces, but those are your cooler season crops. Radishes, things that produce really, really quickly. I like tomatoes. I've gotten to where I really enjoy growing tomatoes now. They can be a challenge, but I think we've kind of figured it out a little bit. So I could share with you some things I think that make you be productive. There's nothing like watching those tomatoes grow on that vine. And when they start turning, you get so excited. And the kids get so excited and they taste so good, But there's spinach, squash grows really well. There again, you have pests. I don't know if you have the same pest issues we have or not. That's the only thing about squash. But beans, you can't, there's lots of really cool beans. We're going to grow this new one from Italy, matter of fact, the Garbanzo bean and another bean, Topazio, I think is how you say it. And we're excited about that. But yeah, we produce lots and lots of beans and cucumbers, but all of them have their challenges. There's all viruses that could possibly create problems for you. But I'll tell you one thing we found that was really cool is we started using an aspirin spray. We read a study out of a university where they used 325 milligram aspirin in a gallon of water and sprayed their plants on a regular basis and after every rain. And it was amazing where we weren't finding the same issues. We weren't having the same challenges. We didn't have to use the, different sprays on them that we didn't really want to have to use. So yeah, it upped their production of their produce as well as prevented a lot of viruses from coming to the plant. So that's an easy thing you can try. I need more information from you. Send me more info and I can share with you what.
Yeah, we'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah, just let me know and I'll be glad to. I'll send you some seeds even. We got seeds. I'm sure our agriculture expert on here, he knows all about, he probably has a good idea of what would be. What do you think would be an easy thing for him?
Me, Professor, the professors.
Yeah, I see him on there.
Yeah, well, I think for me, I think maybe modeling your project, and in a way, if we have some documentation of the process, this could be an ideal tool or for actually from the whole picture, right? From how you got the young people involved to what you actually do. Something like producing a resource manual, which could be translated into different languages, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it helps people as kind of like a template document. What they used to have this book called the Dummy's Guide to to everything. So something like this, and produced by young people, because I watched your recruitment video, very to the point, right? Mm-hmm. No, not too much jazz, not too overwhelming, but it's very attractive. So something like this may be an ideal youth adult process with people from all kinds of different backgrounds getting involved. So someone who picks up a document like this may be able to do it in their own garden with the kids from the street.
Yeah.
Who, they have a spare garden, just getting kids to be involved, just saying like, hey, I've got my garden. Why don't you come in? Like, of course, there's like child safety issues and, but like in the West, we have like more stringent rules and regulations about engaging young people. But something like this, particularly for countries maybe outside nations that are developed.
Yeah, I think the key to all of it is if you don't empower the teens in the first place and how to learn to work together, you've got to take the time to get those leadership style profiles done. And once you do that and they learn to really respect each other, then you got to help them find their voice, right? Where they feel safe. I mean, a lot of adults that I even work with tend to do too much. It's like, it's a struggle with me all the time too, is that I have to say, you need to be quiet and just sometimes they have to learn through their failure because that's the best teacher, really, tell you the truth. And but it does throw a kink into it when you're trying to produce food for families that have given you money for it. Then it's like you can let them fail to a point, but you can't let the crops fail because you got to feed the families. So, yeah, it's a challenge. It's a fine line, but yeah, I think you got to do that, and you got to celebrate success. You got to stop and have fun too. We did outdoor movie night. When we take them on those little retreats, we take them to an environmental learning center and do an overnight camp out, and they do survival training. They learn to canoe, that kind of stuff. You can't all be work. If it's all work all the time and you never let them play, yeah, then I've found you lose them too. So it's a combination of all of it. It's what worked for me anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I had a prompt from our technical team. We have, I think, about 10 minutes left. So thank you very much. I hope everybody found this quite an interesting discussion and you were given sufficient access to our keynote speaker. I hope me as moderator did not hinder this process of dialogue. But before we go into the closing, let us call upon the closing remarks, summation, or the what shall I say, the summary of good things that took place today. We hand over to our esteemed academic, Stephen Krause, Professor,
no
to try and pull things together for us.
Thank
Give you the hard job, Professor.
Thank you, Eugene. And Donna, thank you so much. It's really great to hear about your program. It's another one of those great examples. I've been studying youth adult partnership for quite a while now, and all the things that you mentioned there, just the same things that keep coming up, but the way you're doing it is just it's so real, and it sounds great. And I think Eugene, one of the things that I think is really promising about these dialogues is having people like Donna come on and sharing her work. And with each dialogue, as we get more and more examples of these great programs going on, we can begin to try to, if it's possible, within the network, because our network is so broad, it's so diverse, we're all over the world, capturing what our guests are doing, and then sharing it with the rest of the network, and then looking for ways that this kind of thing can be replicated. Even the potential for that, I think, is tremendous, or at least trying to capture, like David mentioned, the model that Donna's using, and sharing that with others, and looking at how people in other countries can apply it and so forth. I think there's just a lot of opportunities here through these kind of dialogues. And so hopefully we will continue to do this. And I mean, I benefited tremendously from it tonight and the last one. And I hope the others did as well. Sharing passion is one of the things that Donna mentioned. And I think that's such a great way of coining it, because another thing that, that I've seen over the years is with Youth Adult Partnership is that when adults lead through their passion, and young people and adults, they sort of, that synergy is created through that shared passion. That's when it really takes off. And I think, Donna, you kind of hinted at that, just like you said, sharing what has always been passionate to you, and then that becomes infectious to young people, I think. And they pick up on that, and then they own it. If you give them that opportunity to own it, they will own it. So I think this is just another example of that, and a really good one. And I'm thinking of so many things about how our situation here in Malaysia, and what's interesting is that Malaysia is a country with a huge agricultural sector, but again, we're having this problem with young people not being interested in going into agriculture for their careers. And reflecting on what I know about the schools here is there are very, very few programs like Donna's where the young people are actually out doing it, and they're doing it in a way that it's, I mean, like the research component, the community component, it's not just growing vegetables, it's creating, it's creating community, it's building community, and it's showing the real value of this kind of work, and how to make it sustainable. I think, and that's so important. So it's so much more than that, but it's not being taught that way, and I think that's a real missed opportunity. And I think that's what I think Donna's really capturing in a lot of ways. So I'm thinking of all the people I know in agriculture here. I'm thinking, okay, I got to talk to these people, look at what we can do here, because there's a lot that can be done. In terms of the employment and social justice theme for the United Nations Day, I think we saw again the potential for inclusivity and employment as social justice, and all the different ways that people from all different backgrounds can get involved in this kind of sustainable agriculture, especially at a community level. And Donnie, I'm sure you have many more examples of how people from different backgrounds can really partake in this kind of work. So I think it's really right in line with the theme as well. And like Eugene, as you know, in Malaysia, there's a lot of course, special needs youth as well as adults that could be doing so much in agriculture here, really could be, but I just don't know if it's really happening. So that's another potential and possibility, I'm sure, for other countries as well, not just Malaysia. So anyway, I won't, we're just about at 9:30. I won't beat the drum too much more. So I just want to thank everyone. Donna, thank you so much for getting up early in the morning and joining us, and all of our panelists, our esteemed panelists, and all the guests that have tuned in online, and it's been great. Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you, Professor Stephen Krause. So finally, David, do we still have David Carmichael, or has he left?
I'm still here.
David Carmichael, shall we give you the honor of closing this on behalf of the SAEBD-ICCC network? I might usually do this, but I think we shall give you, because you're wonderfully attired today.
I suspect my wife would disagree with you, but anyway.
And you shan't be sending us a bill. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Pro bono.
I was going to say, much as this runs contrary to my professional ethics, when I can't charge for my words and my time, I'll pick up the mantle. There's much in what Stephen said that I would echo. I think Donna has, in a modest way, woven together some terrific effort and achievement, both in the form of the sort of intergenerational element of the project, the awakening of interest in the field amongst young people that might otherwise have not had this opportunity, and of course also doing it within an educational structure so that they are learning not only in the empirical way, but are also learning their methodologies as well. So really a tremendous achievement, and my goodness me, it really should be something that is championed at the very least within the county that Donna sits in, if not the entire state of Tennessee. I'm afraid we outside of the US tend to forget just how large a country the USA is, and even talking at state level, we're talking about very large populations and areas indeed. But yeah, really fascinating. It's no wonder that Donna's students become engaged in the product and in the projects that she runs. It's very very engaging indeed, very encouraging. And I hope that those who have participated today will be able to join in our next dialogue session, which I think is yet to be organised and a date pinned into the diary, but nonetheless hope that everyone can make it. And thanks very much.
Thank you very much, David Carmichael, our chairperson. See you soon in London, in England, and like hopefully I'll drag you to the United States and Japan and other places. We can drag some of our SAEB presidents too. Finally, do we have Prof. Ismi? Prof. Ismi, are you going to join us? Are you too shy? Quickly to say a few words. We've got 1 minute left. Right. Okay, well, Prof. Ismi and Latif are best of pals, so I'm sure Ismi is quite happy for the wonderful, well, he sent me a message, great summation. Oh, Prof. Ismi has joined us. Brilliant. Thank you, sir. One of my examiners. I passed my thesis, I think. So thank you very much, Prof. Wonderful support from Ipsos. Please, a few words from you to finally close the session. Thank you, David. Thank you, Prof. Latif.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Again, I think, everyone has said enough, I mean, in terms of the way forward for us to strengthen our partnership. I would like to thank David and Prof. Stephen and also Donna, and Nasir, for providing the highlights of our discussion today. And I really hope that we can, strategize, on what's next to make sure that whatever that we have discussed will turn into reality. I mean, in terms of working together and making sure that we can mutually, support and benefit one another, inshallah. Again, thank you very much to Eugene and the SAEB team, and look forward to this great collaboration. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, all. Thank you, Donna. Thank you to all the discussions, Yumiko, to Maria, to Alicia, to David. Thank you very, very much to our technical team. Please show yourself if you do not mind. Saif and Sharisa, please show yourself to our audience. They have been fantastic, helped us immensely. First dialogue, second dialogue. We hope they'll be helping us continuously. Let's all work towards making a better world. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you all soon. Do we need to take a group photo? Is that a prompt, or should we do that? Bring everybody on, everybody smile. To all our audience, these are the wonderful people. Thank you very much, Donna. Again, thank you very much. Quick snapshot. Goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Maria from Italy, Yumi, Japan, David, United Kingdom, Alicia, Malaysia. Thank you very much. I am applying for a job to be, as Prof. Latif says, a talk host. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Okay,
good night, and sleep well. Thank you very much. Let's make the world a better place for all. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.